Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Raleen Marks, your host, and every day, Monday to Thursday, we bring you the top stories from Israel right here on this platform. By the way, if you're not into watching it on Facebook, we also have a YouTube channel, and you can find us at the Israel Brief, and all you have to do is simply click on this subscribe button. But let's take a look at those top stories making headlines. And today we begin, as we do every day, with the latest COVID-19 stats. Over the last couple of days, in fact, over the last week, we've seen a significant increase in the amount of infections in Israel, but this has largely been in and around schools. And at the moment, there are about 287 teachers and students who have contracted the COVID-19 virus. Well, we were thinking that the Ministry of Health were going to shut down middle and high schools. However, the Health Ministry said that they will only be shutting those schools that have any cases of COVID-19 and the rest will be opened. But this morning, the Knesset had to be shut because a member of the joint list tested positive for the COVID-19 virus and sending most of the Knesset into bidud or into quarantine. In other news, escalating tensions between Israel and the Palestinian Authority are growing, and the latest announcement from the Palestinian Authority is that they will be refusing tax money that they receive from Israel, which accounts for about 60% of the Palestinian Authority budget. They say that this is in line with them cutting all ties with Israel and the United States. And at this time of grave economic crisis around the world, including the Palestinian Authority territories, it's extremely foolish, especially for innocent Palestinian civilians who will not benefit from the money that they are due to receive. While we're talking about relations with our Arab neighbors, something quite extraordinary is happening in Iran. And this is largely due to Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs online platforms that are in Farsi. Through various social media platforms, the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs is managing to make contact with many Iranian civilians who see Israel not as an enemy at all, but because we are conversing in a common language, we are managing to break down stereotypes or misconceptions that they may have about Israel. But what is the main reason that they are attracted to Israeli sites? First of all, social media seems to be the only platforms that they have for engaging with Israelis, and we are seeing not only a significant amount of interest in people trying to get out of the country and seek asylum as they face ongoing persecution from the regime, but they see Israel as a viable and reputable source for all the information that they need with regards to coronavirus, which is something quite fascinating. And the Foreign Ministry say that they have heard back from at least 500,000 Iranians and are managing to make contact with 12 million Iranians on a weekly basis. So this is how we win hearts and minds, and as we've said many times, our enemy is not the people of Iran, but rather those within the regime who seek Israel's destruction. So those are the top stories making headlines. It is the weekend in Israel, and if you're looking for something to do, check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. And don't forget now that you can also receive our newsletter, and that will be posted onto our website. It will also be posted onto our Facebook page. And if you would like to be a subscriber, just simply drop us a line via Facebook or via our website. So with the last edition of the Israel Brief for the weekend, I would like to wish you and your families a safe and a peaceful weekend. It has been quite an emotional, quite a tumultuous week for many of us around the world. And I hope that this weekend brings you serenity, brings you peace, and above all, good health. So with the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks. Shabbat Shalom. We'll chat again next week.